This is DeerTech TV. Welcome to another action-packed week of DeerTech TV. Later today, producer David Gillane is headed back down to Texas to try and take another trophy axis buck with his bow after a historic Texas freeze. But first, Brad Ruck sits down with archery expert Trent Kleberger to talk about how, just like humans, bows come in all shapes and sizes. And knowing how to fit your bow to your own characteristics can make all the difference up in the tree stand.
Trent, for us larger guys, let's talk about the perfect bow, for us. I like to use everything that I can for my power stroke.
Sure. With being taller, your draw length's going to be longer, so you get that bigger power stroke. But, when that happens, especially in a shorter bow, the string angle becomes so steep that it's hard to get your peep and things like that. So, and the other thing too, at full draw, when your draw length's longer than the overall axle to axle of the bow, it tends to get a little wobblier and things like that. You're not quite as steady. So if you can have a little bit longer bow, it'll give you a little more forgiveness as well. So
yeah, and where I come off with a power stroke is, I'm getting more energy out of my arrows.
Right.
Therefore, I don't have the drop as much, and the distances. It's just more efficient for me. So if I can shoot a longer bow, I'm going to shoot it. I mean, my true draw is 31 inches, and I'm going to try to take advantage of it.
Yeah, you need, and you're going to shoot better too with your form being more correct in that regard too. So
yeah, the other thing I noticed with some of the shorter bows, for my string loop, if I ever have it in, I tie my loops the same every time, but I actually have to widen it a little bit because, like you said, that angle is so tight. If I don't, it'll pop.
Pinch your arrow.
Yeah, it moves it.
So what a lot of guys do, if they do want to shoot the longer draw length, in a shorter axle-to-axle bow, a good thing to do is tie your knock sets in. That way you can set that so that loop ain't going to pinch down onto it so bad. So
yeah, because otherwise, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen when that big deer comes in front of you, and you're a little bit nervous already. So
but
it's totally screw you.
And then, like I said, you can kind of get away with that too. Getting up into that, 31, 32, 33, 34 inch axle-to-axle bows certainly help with that too. It cuts down that string angle so that doesn't create the pinch. You get get that peep set a little closer to your eye, and it's going to, again, give you more accuracy, even though you're probably sacrificing a little speed, which you're not really, because your draw length is getting that speed back for you. So
yeah, it overcompensates.
Right.
And let's talk about the peep for a second, because that's crucial to have it. The closer it is to your eye, the more accurate you're going to be, in my opinion. And it's easier to see because that hole, because you're looking through a small hole, when it gets closer to your eye, it appears a lot bigger than what it is.
Right. And again, it's, when you pick out your peep, it's going to be subject to the bone where that string sits anyway. So, you want it to center on that housing no matter what. So you can certainly run a little smaller peep if it's closer to your eye. So
yeah. So Trent, you're about the same size as me.
Yeah.
What bow would you recommend?
This year I'm going to hunt with our midline bow called the Terrain. It's actually 32.5 inch axle to axle, so it's a little longer. And that bow goes out to 31.5 inch draw length, so it fits me better personally. And I love the way it shoots. Honestly, I shoot that bow as good as I shoot my result target bow.
What people don't realize is your midline bow 5 years ago would have been the top line bow for anybody. You know what I mean? Like,
right. When I first seen that bow, I'm like, man, this thing looks really good. And the first shot out of it, I drew it back. I'm like, man, this thing is so smooth. And I just fell in love with it. And then once I, set it up and started shooting groups with it, I couldn't believe how good it stacked arrows. I mean, even at distance. So it's an amazing bow to shoot.
Nice. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Corinne Johan Bundy with the Outdoor Group and Elite Archery. The 2022 Elite Terrain is the ultimate bow hunter friendly design. It's comfortable to draw, stable to shoot, and powerfully accurate, all for $699. With inflation touching everything in our life, this bow skimps on nothing and offers Elite's lifetime warranty and hunt guarantee, meaning if you're on a hunt and something goes wrong, we will expedite a bow, get it to you the next day so that you can continue the hunt. The Terrain features a 32.5 inch axle to axle, and it accommodates draw lengths of 25.5 inches all the way up to 31.5 inches, with draw length increments in 1/2 inch. It features a large draw weight range of 45 to 60 pounds or 55 to 70 pounds. The precision grip is very, very comfortable, fits like a glove. It's narrower at the throat, wider at the base, and really feels just like an extension of you when at full draw. The hybrid cam is powerfully accurate, as mentioned, and reaches speeds of 325 feet per second. The brace height is 7 inches, which means it's completely forgiving. So if you make any errors, your form is not perfect, it won't magnify them. You can learn more about the 2022 Elite Terrain at elitearchery.com or at Elite Archery Retail Partner.
Don't go away. Up next, we're checking out a new all-in-one seeder from Woods Equipment that was made specifically for the everyday hunter. Stay tuned. Hand seeding, dragging an old mattress spring or fence behind your pickup truck, borrowing a neighbor's tractor. These are all tried and true methods for getting your DIY food plots in before hunting season arrives. But over at Woods Equipment, they are innovating their seeders to try to make the lives of everyday hunters easier and the food plots better looking than ever.
So we know a hunter's time is valuable. Oftentimes when you've got to put your food plots in, you've got one weekend to get it done. You don't want to haul a lot of equipment in and out and make lots of passes over your ground. So with a Woods food plot seeder, you can do it all with one tool. This product was designed with consideration to all different types of users of seeders. But this specifically, this food plot seeder, is the ideal tool for whitetail hunters. You want to put down green material for your deer to eat. This is the tool that's going to get it done efficiently. You can spend less time in the field, less time with your prep, and more time enjoying the land that you're cultivating. The calibration system for our seeders is exclusive to Woods. You can do it 2 different ways. You can do it in motion, or you can do it stationary, which is my preferred method because you could do it on your trailer. You use a crank handle that's attached to the seeder. You engage that to the seed shaft, and you can meter the seed for each of the boxes individually. And we have a capture tray that's also attached to the seeder that captures a small quantity of seed, and then through just some simple multiplication, it will tell you your pounds to the acre for your seed rate. You can dial this seeder in with exact precision. We know seed's expensive, and you don't want to have to make trips back to get more seed because you put down more than you planned.
Hi, my name is John Summercorn. I've been a deer hunter for close to 50 years. I've been a landowner since 2015, and between myself and my hunting partner right now, we're agging out about 16 acres of total wildlife habitat. As much as we love to hunt, I think one of the real drivers to the passions of the outdoors and hunting actually is the land management aspect of your hunting land. And to have the equipment now to be able to put down multiple products, so we're planting anywhere from radishes to turnips to soybeans to corn, all of that being done now with really one piece of equipment as opposed to multiple units. So the land management part of it and the ag management has become probably as rewarding as the actual harvesting and the hunting aspect of our time up in the woods. In the old days, the way we generally did the food plots was to spray them, of course burn it, often disc it, then till it, and then we would have to hand broadcast it. After hand broadcasting, then we would have to come with some method to sow the seed, which was either some form of a cultipacker or just dragging something obviously behind the tractor. That process in grand total was 2 or 3 days in general to get all of that done. So an enormous amount of work. We began to look at and research ways that we could cut down our time and our efficiency and also save on seed. Our research really led us to Woods products, and especially the food plot seeder. what we found is that now essentially we can one pass, we can lay down seed, we can lay down multiple seeds at one time. So what we found is the amount of time now that it takes to completely egg out all of our habitat is probably less than a tenth of what we would have spent in the past. I think one of the real exciting parts of this is just having a land management strategy that combines a number of different crops for wildlife. Really is now what makes the landowner experience, the land management part, really exciting. And at the end of the day, what's really exciting is when we begin to see the quality, the number of deer, and the quality of deer hunts that we have goes up to another level.
So every single year, Brad Rux and I embark on a 20-hour drive all the way down to Sonora, Texas to hunt with Keith Miller at Texas Trophy Whitetails. We're there for axis deer. We went there last year. I ended up getting a 34-inch axis buck. I wasn't expecting that. He's on the wall now, and I couldn't be more happy and more excited to be coming back this year.
Frozen water pipes bursting, destroying homes, some causing ceilings to collapse.
As you may have seen in the news reports, Texas had a record-breaking freeze this past winter. There were ceilings collapsing, there was water damage everywhere, plumbers were backed up for months. Now, how that affected the axis deer is that their racks, a lot of their racks, were frozen and busted off. So we both were pretty set on hunting with our new elites and taking these guys down with a bow, but you know what? It was gonna be a tough hunt no matter how we looked at it. Day after day after day passes in the tree stand. I don't see a lot of axis buck. I barely see any with racks at all. A couple came in and they had broken off racks. They had massive bodies. So I thought, you know, that's probably one heck of a buck, but I can't shoot it. So one morning, Keith put me in a ground blind, and I saw more axis deer in one sit than I think I'll probably ever see the rest of my life. The problem? There weren't any big ones. Some were broken off, but most of them were just little guys. So I didn't take a shot that day despite being able to, and I was basically down to just a couple days left on my hunt. So I get to the last day of my hunt, and I'm the only one that hasn't tagged out yet. So I decided, you know what? I'll hang up the bow, I'll take out a gun, and that's exactly what I did for my last sit. So I get to the last day of my hunt, and I'm the only one that hasn't tagged out yet. Brad Rux decided to switch over to gun, so he took a nice one with a nice velvet rack still. One of the other hunters in camp got himself a nice buck on day one because he was gun hunting. So I decided, you know what, I'll hang up the bow, I'll take out a gun, and that's exactly what I did for my last sit. Now my standards and my expectations were pretty low for my last sit. I go sit in a tower blind overlooking a valley, a nice pond where they come in and water. There's a feeder off to the right. And then it wasn't long before a group of axis buck came to the water. Man, it has been a long week, really long, 3 days actually. I wanted to get one with my bow. It wasn't working out. We switched to gun the very last day. It's not even 7 a.m. Axis on the ground, dropped right there. Now the axis buck that I decided to shoot, he looked really good through the scope. I had a perfect shot at him. You know what? I could have waited. Maybe a bigger one was behind him. At the end of the day, I love being me. I'm not a trophy hunter. I hunt for the meat. If a big rack walks by or if I can respect somebody's rules, I will. But at the end of the day, I'm going home with some meat. All right. Now he is not as big as the one I shot last year, and that's perfectly okay. I got the one I wanted. I'm happy. I got a cape. Beautiful. Beautiful. This is awesome. Look, I'm happy, I'm blessed. I got another buck this year. What I'm really excited about though is that this next year we're going back with our bows, and I'm willing to bet a lot of big bucks were passed last year because their racks were frozen off. So I think my chances are gonna be a little bit better.
That's it for this week's episode of DeerTech TV. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.